there is an email that I want to talk about first. It lands around March. The subject line says merit increase. You open it and it's 1.8%. And you read it twice because you genuinely thought that it'd be more. Then you say thanks and you get on with your day. If you know that email, then this video's for you. I'm talking to a very specific woman here. You're somewhere between your 30s or your 40s, between 50 and 80 grand a year, and you are good at your job. We're not debating that bit. You're probably the person your team comes to when something actually matters. You've done everything right, but yet your income is still decided by somebody who isn't you. So just a quick preface on why you'd even listen to me. Look, I was once you. I did everything right as well. I got the law degree. I'd done 5 years in a firm while I did my master's, and I was literally weeks away from qualifying as a solicitor. I was 2 hours a day sat in traffic, 8 hours a day or more behind a desk, and this annoying little thought that kept chipping away at me. Is this it? So I left, which everyone thought I was mad, including me, for about a year. I've been in this industry since 2020 and I've closed over $5.5 million in sales myself. I've managed teams doing over $1 million a year, and I've worked with close to 1,000 people on this skill. Hair Sales Society started because business owners kept asking me to close for them. And when I couldn't, they'd ask me if I knew any other women who could. And I didn't, and that was the whole problem. There wasn't a pipeline, so I built one. So what remote sales is actually, to understand it, you need to understand how these businesses work. So bear with me for 2 minutes. Now, an online service-based business has loads of moving parts: organic content, paid ads, lead generation, sales admin, customer service, fulfillment and operations. And as it grows, the owner just simply can't wear all of these hats. And this is what the money side of it looks like. They spend serious money on advertising. Those ads bring in people who've got a problem that they want solving. Those people land in a calendar, and then somebody actually has to have a conversation to bring them on board into the service. And that's exactly where you come in. So there's 2 entry points: either an appointment setter who handles the earlier conversations, usually either through DMs, dealing with inquiries, or sometimes over the telephone. You qualify the person and you book them in for an appointment. More often than not, you don't have to be on camera. A closer takes that call and walks them through the decision properly. That's a proper conversation, usually between 45 minutes to an hour. Both are fully remote: a laptop, a Wi-Fi, a decent headset, and of course, your sales skills. And that is genuinely all that's needed. You can see why they'd pay really well for this, because they've spent thousands getting that person to even book in the first place. So they're not just going to spend all that and then fumble it all at the last step. Sales is part of the business that brings in the money, which is why it's the part that gets paid the most. Now, I do need to clear something up, because there is a version of sales in your head right now that's probably the wrong one. This is not cold calling, not knocking doors, not ringing strangers about car insurance, and it's not chasing people who don't want to be chased. Each conversation is with somebody who has put their hand up, they've asked for a call, they've already got a problem, and they're already looking for an answer. And these are the sort of businesses that we place into. You've got coaching, property, fitness, beauty, agencies, education and health. Now, here's the bit I actually care about, and it's the reason this business is women only. There's a woman on a call about to spend 5 grand. She's nervous about spending, and she's telling this bloke she's never met before that she's worried her husband will say no. And he's got a script for it. You don't need a script for that, because you've had that conversation in your actual life. Now, there's a gap in the market, and it's a big one. This industry is selling to women and hiring men to do it, and the businesses that have figured that out are actively looking for women to sell properly. There just aren't that many of us who are trained to a high standard, and that's the whole reason I built this. So why am I saying all of this now in 2026 and not 5 years ago? Because the ground has moved and a lot of women just haven't clocked onto it yet. AI isn't coming for jobs, it's coming for average. And if your role is process, admin, coordination, reporting, first draft of anything, some of that is already being done cheaper somewhere in your business. And you know it because you've sat in those headcount conversations. But when someone's about to spend 5, 10, even 20 grand on one of these programs, they want to speak to a human being, not a chatbot not some form. Somebody who can actually hear that hesitation in their voice and actually deal with it and reassure them. That's the last part of a business that doesn't get automated, because the whole thing just runs on trust. And remote hiring isn't just some COVID leftover anymore. These businesses were built remotely. They hire remote as standard, and they'll pay you on output because that's just how the model works. One income that somebody else controls was never security. It just felt like it was. And the thing that nobody's telling women, if you've come from recruitment, estate agency, banking, property, marketing, account management, client services, NHS management, you're already doing most of the job. You're already handling objections, managing expectations, getting a difficult person to make a decision. You're just doing it inside of a salary band instead. Now, you're not starting again by doing this. You're taking 10, 15 years of dealing with people and putting it somewhere that actually pays for your output. What we do is 3 things in order: training, proper sales training, role plays, feedbacks, live call breakdowns with coaches who've actually done the job, not just a video library that you skim on your lunch break. And then after you've been assessed, you pass the standard and you become recruitment ready. If you don't pass, then you keep training until you do placement. This is the bit that makes it a proper career rather than just another course. We build you a sales portfolio with live call recordings, your scores, and actual evidence a hiring manager can sit down and watch, not some random CV that says you're an excellent communicator. We rewrite the CV, we run interview prep, because a sales interview is a sales call, and for most people, they will fail on it for that exact reason. Then we introduce you to the businesses in our network. Lastly, we coach you. We stay with you once you're in a role, because the first 90 days is where people either completely compound or slowly fall off. So you might be thinking, well, does this work or not? I want to tell you about Georgia. She was capped at 47 grand a year. She'd done everything right. She'd studied years at uni, landed her dream corporate job, and worked up the ladder. And that was the number, and it was always going to stay the number. She's now landed a remote sales role with an OTE of 120 grand a year. Holly was in corporate sales and recruitment on £4,000 a month, and this was her salary for years. After completing our TPC method, she's managed to land a remote sales role with an OTE of £150,000 a year. Chloe is in a role with an online beauty mentorship business, and her OTE is 150 grand a year. And on-target earnings means exactly that, performance-based. She actually does have to perform and hit it. But that's the ceiling she's now working against, and nobody else has set it for her. So before I tell you about how to speak to us, let me be honest about who I don't want in this academy. This is not for you if you want income without output, if you can't take direct feedback, and I mean weekly, because that's the actual product. If you need somebody else accountable for your numbers and the honest one. It's not for you if you want this to be easy. It is a professional skill, and it takes whatever a professional skill takes. The difference is it pays you once and you've got it. I'm not saying this to be hard on you. I've watched the wrong women come and join my community, and it costs them money, it costs them confidence. And I'd rather be transparent about that now. So look, you've got 2 options from here. You can carry on exactly the way you are, which is fine because you're doing all right. Just have a think about what another 10 years of exactly this looks like. Or you can have a conversation about whether this is a realistic move for you. If it is the second one, book a call on the link below. We'll go through where you're at now, what you're earning, what you'd actually be capable of earning, and whether or not this is right for you right now. And if it isn't, we'll tell you. We'd rather say it in half an hour than have you find out in 6 months. So I'll see you on the call.